Hello and welcome to another edition of the First Pitch podcast on Pitcher List. My name is Trevor Hooth. Lots of news, lots of baseball to get to. What do you say we jump right in? Matt Chapman is back from the injured list. He had a week-long stint there with hand inflammation. In order to make room, the utility infielder Tyler Fitzgerald has been optioned down to AAA. So Matt Chapman back in that Giants lineup. Jackson Merrill hit the 10-day IL with a left ankle sprain, retroactive to August 20th. He actually hasn't played since, I believe, the 17th, somewhere around there. It's been a while now. He won't be able to return until the 29th at the earliest, depending on how his ankle heals up. Big blow for the Padres, and Merrill been fighting injuries so far this year and not able to repeat his success of last year because of that. Marcus Semien heads to the IL for the Rangers with a left foot contusion. His roster spot is given to Adolis Garcia, who is returning from the IL. Semien has not been an offensive threat as much this year, but the Rangers will get a good offensive threat back in Adolis Garcia. Not long after his move to the bullpen for the Mets, Frankie Montas is going to miss the rest of the season, if not farther, with a UCL injury that is described as pretty significant. So that means 2025 is done, depending on what pretty significant means. We can only speculate at this point. That means he could miss a chunk, if not all, of 2026 as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what that looks like. Again, he had just been moved to the bullpen. His performance in the rotation was not very good. So we'll see what happens there. For the moment, Huascar Brazoban has been called up from AAA. They may decide to use some of their other prospect pitching power to fill that vacancy, whether that be Brandon Sproat or maybe even Jonah Tong, who was amazing again in yesterday's game in AAA. Lots of strikeouts, topped out at 97. It seems like he's just about ready for a chance at the big league level. Obviously, they would want that to be the rotation. I don't think they have a spot right now. Nolan McLean is just doing too well. So potentially they give Tong or Sproat a chance in the bullpen now that there is an opening with this injury. But for the moment, it is Brazoban who is going to be joining the Mets bullpen. We'll see what happens with their young guys, down the road here in the next few days or weeks even. For the Mariners, Victor Robles returns from the 60-day IL after making a fantastic catch early in the season and sustaining a shoulder injury. He is now back. Dylan Moore has been DFA'd, and the Mariners no doubt will enjoy having Victor Robles back. Big time speed, lots of steals. He had a breakout year, or just breakout in general, since joining the Mariners. They extended him for a couple years because he was playing so well. So that injury was ill-timed. We'll have to see how he returns. It's very likely he will be splitting time in the outfield with the likes of Dominic Canzone and Luke Raley, but we'll have to see how all of that plays out. Obviously, Victor Robles can do a lot of stuff for him, and they believe in him. That's why they extended him. So we'll see how much playing time he does get. That speed's going to be nice to have back in your fantasy lineups, especially if you're like me and playing in dynasty leagues and decided to trade for him amidst his injury and hope that the speed would come back. I am with you if that describes you. Zach Wheeler was recommended for thoracic outlet syndrome surgery. This is a massive blow for him personally and for the Phillies. It's not necessarily the end of his career. Merrill Kelly is an example of being able to come back from that surgery, but Wheeler had expressed he wants to retire after 2027. So this could expedite that process. This is a very unfortunate injury and a very scary injury, and we'll have to see what Zach Wheeler decides to do. It's going to be a long road back, but again, it is possible. Merrill Kelly showed us that. So we'll see what he decides to do. And finally, in news, Mick Abel is back in the majors. He'll be and he made his Twins debut yesterday. We will talk about how that went. In order to make room for him, Jose Urena has been DFA'd. Uh, Mick Abel obviously had his moments with the Phillies. Lots of strikeout potential, still inconsistent across the board. He was a guy who pitched really well a few times out, and then everybody said, "Hey, sell, 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 sell." I don't know. We'll see if the Twins are able to get him back on track. Lots of talent in that arm. Command can be shaky at times, but he's going to be making his debut with his new team after being traded there at the trade deadline. Moving on to some highlights from yesterday's game. The Mets offense went on a home run spree. Jeff McNeil hit 2 of them. He's got 12 on the year now. Pete Alonso hit his 29th. Mark Vientos also had 2 home runs. He's up to 11 on the year. And Starling Marte hit his 8th home run of the year and stole a pair of bases, bringing him up to 7 steals on the year. And with all those home runs, it just reminiscent of when their home stadium ran out of fireworks because they hit too many home runs. So that offense has a tendency to explode. Casey Schmidt hit a home run and a double with 4 RBIs for the Giants. He's got 9 homers on the year, 4 of them coming over his last 15 games where he's hitting 250. And especially in like a Fantrax league, he plays first, second, and third. It's a decent utility option in deeper leagues. He's been a revelation in my 30-team league where I definitely need somebody playing second base. But he's been hitting pretty well over the last couple weeks or so and adding some more power as time goes on. Royce Lewis hit a home run. He's got him in back-to-back games now. He has 4 hits in his last 9 at-bats in those 2 games. So he's been hitting really well. Obviously, his 3-hit game day before helped quite a bit. He has struck out 5 times over that span, though. So it's kind of been hit or strikeout. Colson Montgomery hit a grand slam. That's 2 bombs in 2 games. Maybe he's heating up again. He's had his struggles as of late. He has a tendency to be inconsistent at the plate. We've seen that throughout the year. I talked about that on yesterday's podcast where an injury held him back from making the team out of spring training, and then things kind of went south a little bit, but he's picked it back up in a big way. He started big at in the majors. Maybe he's heating up again. Again, 2 home runs in 2 games for Colson Montgomery. The Brenton Doyle resurgence is in full swing. He hit his 14th home run and stole his 13th base yesterday. And after his slow start that caused probably a little bit of panic, caused a lot of trades, I'm guessing, he's up to 247 on the year. So he's recovering very nicely. He's been very, very hot at the plate lately. And again, we're starting to see that Brenton Doyle that we saw, last year during his breakout. Nothing had quite changed in his underlying numbers, at least it seemed like. So hopefully this is him back on track with a little bit better luck than he had to start the year. Kyle Tucker went yard twice for the Cubs. He's got 3 home runs in his last 2 games, and this is a welcome sight for a player hitting 192 with just 4 home runs over his last 30 games. Obviously, 3 of those 4 have come in the last 2 days. So Kyle Tucker has been struggling mightily at the plate, but he's had a good couple of days to hopefully right the ship. Moving on to some pitching, Nestor Cortez shut down the Dodgers through 6 innings, 6 shutout innings, striking out 3 and allowing only a single hit. That is hard to do. The Dodgers have a very potent lineup. Cortez, of course, just acquired alongside prospect Jorge Quintana and cash for Brandon Lockridge at the trade deadline from the Brewers. This was Nestor Cortez's 4th appearance for the Padres, totaling 21 innings, 17 strikeouts, and a 3 ERA. He's actually doubled his amount of appearances that he had with the Brewers already. So, season lost to injury, but doing pretty well so far in his new organization. Logan Webb threw 6 innings against the Brewers, allowing a run and striking out 5. He's got a 3.13 ERA across 166 and 2/3 innings with 180 strikeouts, having another fantastic season, as is the guy he faced off against, Freddie Peralta, who struck out 6 across 5 shutout innings. He did walk 4, though, so a little bit shaky on the command in this one, but overall just a phenomenal year, having a 2.68 ERA. As I mentioned a little earlier, Mick Abel made his Twins debut against the White Sox. It did not go very well. It ended after 3 innings, allowing 6 earned runs with a pair of strikeouts. This is Mick Abel, right? He could do this. He could have a phenomenal outing. There's a lot of talent in the arm. He'll obviously have more runway left in the season to prove that he belongs in that Twins rotation. If not, he has the kind of stuff where maybe he turns into a really good reliever. But obviously, Minnesota would love for him to figure it out and be a long-term rotation arm for them. For the Rangers, Jack Leiter struck out 10 against the Guardians through 7 shutout innings, scattering just 2 hits. And I'll tell you what, there might be some downs, but the ups have been really good for Jack Leiter, who is righted the ship on his career. It seemed like he was destined to maybe just fill in a bullpen role at one point when he was a prospect, but he has really picked things up again. And it is good to see that because he can put together performances like this more and more often as he gets settled in and gets a hold on his stuff. Mike Burrows, speaking of up and down seasons, my gosh, he struck out 5 across 4 shutout innings, scattering a pair of hits and a walk against the Cubs. So, I'm sorry, against the Rockies. So a good outing for Mike Burrows. Aaron Nola had a good start against the Nationals. That's something you've been looking for from him. He struck out 6 across 6 innings. He allowed 2 earned runs, 3 total, including 2 home runs, and just a rough season for him. Injuries, and of course, his season ERA is above 6.52. So a welcome sight for a good outing, but definitely not the Aaron Nola we've come to know. Garrett Crochet is still Garrett Crochet, in case you were wondering. I know sometimes you might just ask yourself, is Garrett Crochet still doing well? Yes, he is. Garrett Crochet struck out 11 over 7 innings, allowing just a run against the Yankees. So, yeah, dude can still pitch. And finally, for starters, Cade Horton, looking really good. 6 shutout innings, scattering 3 hits and a walk while striking out 7 against the Angels. And this is what you want to see from Cade Horton. One reliever to mention, Zach Maxwell made his debut out of the bullpen for the Reds. Big stuff, big potential as a relief pitcher. He allowed a run over 2 innings and struck out 5. So kind of came as advertised there. And congratulations to Zach Maxwell making his MLB debut. With that, we're going to take a quick timeout. And when I come back with you, got a few pitchers to mention for today's games. Stick with me. Once again, my name is Trevor Hooth, and this is another edition of the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. And welcome back to the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. My name is Trevor Hooth. Thanks so much for being here. What do you say we take a look at some pitching upcoming today? Starting with the Rockies. I know, everybody's favorite pitching destination. McCade Brown is making his MLB debut against Paul Skeens and the Pirates. McCade Brown had a 33%, upwards of 33% strikeout rate in AA, and is skipping AAA in order to make this start in the rotation. Brown is taking the rotation spot of Austin Gomber, who they released, and he is Rule 5 eligible. So this is, I think, the Rockies just trying to get a look at him. I don't know how long his stint is going to be. I guess if he performs well, it'll be longer than if he doesn't, just as it would be for anyone. But if the Rockies really just want to see what they have, because they left him unprotected from the Rule 5 draft before the season. And I think they didn't want to take that chance again because he had been performing well. Lots of strikeout potential. He is pitching away from Coors, and he will be taking on the Pirates in Pittsburgh. For the Athletics, Jacob Lopez did finally give up a run. He was on quite the stretch. He gave up 2 runs in his last time out. He'll look to keep that low run total and high strikeout totals going against Logan Gilbert and the Mariners today. Jacob Lopez has 32 strikeouts and a 0.70 ERA in the month of August. He has been absolutely on fire. And let's just all hope for a pitcher's duel, because I have both of them in most leagues I play in. So I need them to both perform. So let's go with a pitcher's duel. How about that? Dustin May is going to be going up against the Yankees today. He's looked good since the trade to Boston. He's got 17 strikeouts and a 2.87 ERA through 15 and 2/3 innings across his first 3 starts. So he's going to look to keep that going against his new rivals, the Yankees. Again, Dustin May been performing well in a Red Sox uniform so far. And finally, my matchup of the day, super interesting. Taj Bradley is set to make his Twins debut. He, man, he was sent down by the Rays, and I fully believe in the stuff. I fully believe in him long term. It almost seemed like the Rays didn't quite give him the opportunity he needed in some ways. The Twins have the ability to do that for him, and so he'll be making his debut. They acquired both him and Mick Abel, who just pitched yesterday at the trade deadline, and hopefully, and we're hoping they could get some high-end rotation arms out of it. Taj Bradley is going to be making his debut. Hopefully it goes better than Mick Abel's debut yesterday. On the other side of that for the White Sox is Yoendrys Gomez, and I'll tell you what, he has looked very good since being recalled by the White Sox. They claimed him off waivers. They stretched him out as a starter in AAA. He was performing big time in AAA. He's got 2 starts under his belt for Chicago. He's gone 10 innings, allowed 4 earned runs. 3 of them came on his last start, but he's got 10 strikeouts. He's been pretty good. He faced both Detroit and Atlanta too. So these are not bad offenses he's facing. Going to be very interesting to see how that goes, because now he's facing Twins lineup that, frankly, day-to-day, not as good as Atlanta and Detroit. So I think Gomez is set for a very good game. And I think Taj Bradley could have a very good game as well. Going to be a fun one. I am excited to see how that plays out. With that, I appreciate you joining me. This has been another edition of the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List.